So, the reason why we're here goes back about 15 years ago, or actually 17 years ago, somewhere in there. A gentleman called me while I was working at the MPN Research Foundation. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Brazeau. I started MPN Advocacy and Education International in 2013. Prior to that, I was with the MPN Research Foundation for almost 9 years. So I've been in this space for quite a long time. I received a call while at the foundation from a gentleman who said, I've just been diagnosed with myelofibrosis, and I'm raising 3 sons, and I was told, get your life in order because you won't have long on this earth. Well, he called me and he was terrified, and I said, have you had any symptoms? And not that I'm a physician, but what's going on in your life? And he told me what was happening, and I said, where do you live? And he said, Northern California. I said, you need to meet with Gotlib, Dr. Gotlib at Stanford. So this gentleman's name was Chuck Johnnson. He was near and dear to me. And I cannot say enough about this gentleman who, we do not take money from patients. We don't take donations. We are not a 501c3. We're a small LLC. And he wanted to support us financially, and I said, no, you can't do that. You would not get a tax benefit from that. And I said, instead, he said, instead, would you like to host events in our space here? He brings his staff. We have always had this amazing staff. The 2 women in the back, Mele and Kaori. Mele and I have known each other for 9 or 10 years now. And I don't know if Ed's in the back, and I forgot the other gentleman, but we get a staff of technology people and people helping us coordinate this meeting from Chuck and from his family. It's amazing. I also want to introduce our videographer in the back. He's been with us for 9 years, Daryl from Keystone Pictures, and of course most of you know Mallory. And she's my right arm, and I say my left brain now because she's been with me for a while, enough to know me and my personality. Getting back to Chuck. So over the years, we learned that he was the oldest of 7. I'm the youngest. His mother's name is Ann. I've met his parents. I knew all about his 3 sons, but never met them in person. Today, I'm going to meet his oldest son, and Chase, who is supposed to stop in at lunchtime, and so hopefully all of you will meet him. But Chuck passed away in September, and we were made aware of this, and I got in touch with the family, and they said, please come and host another event. You can read more of the memorial inside your agenda and program, and I can't say enough about the gentleness in this man, the generosity, the caring of other patients. He gave a tremendous amount of money to other MPN locations and places, and was a great steward, and all he would say to me is, a thank you is all I need. And again, he was very soft-spoken, at least with me, and he just said a thank you is all I need. So in honor of him, we are hosting this event today, and for women in MPN. His sister is now the CEO of the company. Chuck used to be. So in his honor, Dr. Gotlib, who was Chuck's physician, was supposed to be here and is off to Switzerland, and so he was going to say a few words here.
My name is Jason Gotlib, and I'm from the Stanford Cancer Institute. I'd like to thank Brazeau and her MPN Advocacy and Education International Organization for their service and commitment to the MPN community. Today's annual Women and MPNs conference is yet another example of that commitment. I wish I could join you in person today, but I'm currently in Europe. I'm honored to have the opportunity to pay tribute to Charles Johnnson, who we all affectionately know as Chuck. Chuck passed away 1 year ago. It was a privilege to serve as a hematologist for over a decade. I will miss Chuck's kindness, wry smile, and quiet but fierce determination. He and his family were major supporters of Stanford's MPN clinical and translational research program. This was not support from a distance. Chuck closely engaged with us clinical and laboratory investigators. His curiosity was always on display. He asked probing questions and encouraged us to push forward clinical advances while trying to marry efforts in the lab with those at the bedside. And as Anne has noted, Chuck's support of Stanford and the MPN community as a whole was steadfast and without the need for acknowledgement. If I may, I'd like to read a poem for Chuck, his wife Christina, and his family, but I also think it has resonance for all of us who have lost loved ones. The poem is entitled So Many Different Lengths of Time by Brian Patton. How long does a man live after all? 1,000 days or only one? 1 week or a few centuries? How long does a man spend living or dying? And what do we mean when we say gone forever? Adrift in such preoccupations, we seek clarification. We can go to the philosophers, but they will be wary of our questions. We can go to the priests and rabbis, but they might be busy with administrations. So how long does a man live after all? And how much does he live while he lives? We fret and ask so many questions, and when it comes to us, the answer is so simple after all. A man lives for as long as we carry him inside us, for as long as we carry the harvest of his dreams, for as long as we ourselves live, holding memories in common, a man lives. His lover will carry his man's scent, his touch. His children will carry the weight of his love. One friend will carry his arguments. Another will hum his favorite tunes. Another will share his terrors. And the days will pass with baffled faces, then the weeks, then the months. Then there will be a day when no question is asked, and the knots of grief will loosen in the stomach, and the puffed faces will calm. And on that day, he will not have ceased, but will have ceased to be separated by death. How long does a man live after all? A man lives so many different lengths of time. The MPN journey can be a tough one, but one of the privileges of being a physician is to be a witness to the grace and resilience of patients and their families. Part of this privilege is to arm you with the information and resources you need to best navigate that journey, and to do so with compassion and understanding. That will happen today with Anne's and her organization's help, and with a wonderful lineup of speakers. It's happened here every 2 years under the auspices of the Johnson's family's facilities, what I like to call Chuck's house. As we gather again, there's much to have gratitude for, including the army of researchers who are trying to make strides on your behalf to extend the quality and quantity of life of MPN patients. I wish you all a wonderful conference and look forward to meeting up again.
Okay. So thank you to Jason, who is in Switzerland, and thank you to Chuck's son for being here today. And my first time meeting him, even though I've heard so much about him over the years, so it does my heart good to see you, sweetheart. And we'll get on with our conference. Thank you.